Good evening and welcome to this pre-concert storytelling of this celebration of the life and work of Anthony Brown, baritone, or Tony as so many of us knew him. My name is Ken Rodgers, and I had the privilege for 15 years here at Hesston College, and even a few years after that, of being the person who accompanied Tony, which I think over 200 different concerts and locations all over the United States, in Europe, in Uganda, and in Indonesia. And so that was just an important part of that. And I think I'll have Dallas, and you want to just say who you are and how you know. Yeah.
I'm Dallas Stutzman, and worked at Hesston College for 33 years and had the pleasure of working with Tony primarily when he was an artist in residence for 15 years, and we did a lot of traveling together, and also with the three of us and Tony. So it's been my pleasure to connect with him over the years.
I'm John Sharp, longtime friend of Tony Brown. We met in the 70s and sort of hit it off, but we spent time together beginning here at Hesston College. Many hours on the road, many hours in his office or my office, taking care of the problems of the world.
Tony Brown was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and in his elementary school years, his parents moved to the country and bought a place outside of McDonald, Pennsylvania, just out west of Pittsburgh, and which is, they still have that homestead, and where Tony spent his last years after retirement and where he passed away. The story of how Tony got to Hesston College is an interesting one. He went with his aunt from Cleveland and a number of people from their church to attend summer camp at Camp Luz outside of Kidron, Ohio. And Larry Swartzendruber ended up coming to the camp and inviting them to look at a new school that they were starting called Central Christian High School. And Tony's aunt whispered in his ear, "I think this would be a good place for you." And he came. And after graduating from Central Christian High School, which was a Mennonite school, he decided he would go to Prairie Bible Institute in Alberta, Canada. So on his way, he decided to visit his best friend Larry Diener in Ohio on the way, and she said, "Larry, where are you going to college?" He's on the way. "Well, I'm going to Prairie Bible Institute." "No, you're not. They don't even believe in the work that Dr. King is doing. You're going to Hesston College." And she phoned up the college president at the time, Tillman Smith, said, "Would you have room for one more person?" And so a phone call with Tony's parents, and it was done. He came to Hesston College. And that changed the trajectory of things. Then on to Goshen College, University of Pittsburgh, and then eventually out to Seattle, Washington, where he worked for the University of Washington as in their counseling center, but always continued to sing, something that he developed from a youth all the way through his college years, and then he always continued to study with his, especially one particular teacher out in Seattle. And his love was for all music. He loved German lieder. He loved singing oratorios. He loved music of the spirituals. He loved the sorrow songs of people from all over the world. And it was, when he came back to Hesston College, was actually as a one-year interim as a sociology professor. Dwight Roth was taking a one-year leave, and the dean at the time, Mark Yoder, and President Lauren Swartzendruber invited him to come as a one-year sabbatical replacement. And then creatively said, "Why don't you stay? We'll make you artist in residence. You can teach, you can do some counseling, and we will enable you to do your work of peacemaking through music." And that's how his 1 year turned into 15.
Well, I think it might be easier if we were looking at events and relational qualities connection for Tony to so many people to talk about what Tony didn't do in relation to peacemaking and justice and to music performance. And you heard some of those from Ken already. I want to mention just some of the primary programs that Tony was a part of. The breadth and depth of what he did was far beyond this, but some of you are familiar with some of this, but I think it's interesting to get a little bit broader look at it. Tony literally performed hundreds of programs and concerts on behalf of Hesston College over those 15 years, but his connection was always about people, and wherever he went, he would, if there was a high school student, he made sure to talk to that high school student and share about Hesston College and what kind of a world that could open up for them if they would consider that. So he was like the #1 recruiter for Hesston, I think, too. Yeah. His most recent show is and was I Go On Singing, Paul Robeson's life in word and song. And Tony, as the show's creator, reveals Paul Robeson, the towering figure of the 20th century America and the premier African-American entertainer of the time. There's a picture that you can find different places of a beautiful wall mural of Paul Robeson in the city of Philadelphia, and Tony is just below it, and this towering presence is above Tony, but Tony in his own right was very much the same kind of person for peace and justice. Robeson was a personal role model for Tony, and he helped pave the way for Tony's work. What was so amazing was that most persons who attended that show, and I'm sure some of you did, had no idea who Paul Robeson was, and I didn't before Tony shared some of that with me. And then after they saw Tony portray Robeson, they found so much value in who he was, and were so appreciative that Tony had brought this show alive to the audiences around the country, and it affected people deeply. Another huge highlight for Tony in relation to the show was visiting in person in upstate New York with legendary folk singer Pete Seeger, who appears in the show. The program Songs and Stories of Peace, Hope, and Justice Around the World. This show illustrated how music is a powerful tool to bring people together, particularly in violent regions of the world, and we're all quite well aware of that in our context today. Tony encouraged audiences to be promoters of peace and justice in their local communities where they lived. The 19th century American song program reflected new created styles of the time, as well as those of different cultures, which was a perfect fit for Tony to sing the music of the American song. The Anthony Brown Baritone Comprehensive School was established on Tony's behalf by previous child soldier and the director of the school, Ricky Richard, in northern Uganda. And it was started to assist the most vulnerable of children in Uganda. Tony didn't talk about that very much in his humble way, but what an outstanding recognition for that school to be named, and Ken may say more about Uganda and Ken and Tony being there. And of course, the African American Spirituals Concert was kind of his starting point, which told the story of the enslaved African Americans. That program helped people to connect to themes of suffering and human resilience, and often people in the audience then actually were part of that in singing the call and response style of design of music. And of course, there were show tunes and opera and classical, and the list goes on and on. One story, Tony and Ken and I were in outside of D.C. on the East Coast at a Mennonite congregation that was very multiculturally diverse. And at the end of the program, or as part of it, Tony sang the words, "He's got the whole world." And the children, the multicultural children, immediately responded spontaneously in his hands without any prompting. Now that's a moment that I will never forget. Tony always had a love and a concern for all children of every background and from around the world, and that was very, very prevalent for him. Tony had this natural ability to connect to all persons of the human family. As one Hesston alum put it, you were the most special person on the planet when he was with you. Tony reinforced the ideas that the world was, in fact, one humanity, and that we as humans have far more things in common with each other than we do differences from each other. And those are very powerful ideas that he continued to present to all of us, and that he wanted those words and to be integral into our lives as we interact with our communities. Tony stayed fully engaged in the last seasons of his life. He built relationships with the city school in Philadelphia, with activist pastor Shane Claiborne, with organizations and churches all across the city of Philly. This is just one small window for him, and also in his home city in Pittsburgh as well. He and I were working on concerts all across the country, across the world, including Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Lithuania. So no shortage of things for him in his very, very last days. In a Sunday morning service this last spring at Blooming Glen Mennonite Church, Tony was so passionate regarding the stories and songs of peace, hope, and justice that he shared with that congregation. And the leadership of that group indicated that he had moved the work of the congregation ahead 2 years at a minimum, that they could go ahead and move forward because of what Tony provided for them. I want to leave you with these words that were spoken by Tony. Our country and the world are divided. Our deep human desire is to show grace to others and understand that our differences are not rigidly black and white. There are many connection points where we can find our common humanity, grow, and learn from each other. Grace that comes from our eternal God is what knits us all back together. People are more than their worst actions. There, but for the grace of God, go I. Tony was my dear, dear friend and brother. We spent a lot of time, particularly in these last years during COVID, talking on the phone and interacting together. And I know that many of you feel very deeply connected to him as well. And others of you here may not know him at all. And I've bemoaned that fact with the basketball team, that these guys here this year won't get to know Tony. But I'm doing my best to portray some of that to them. I'll always treasure what a gift that he was to me and is to my family, and to helping me to build strong personal relationships with other people that are important to me, that will go into the future. And for all of these things, I'm very grateful. He will be someone greatly missed.
On the road with Tony, many things could happen. On one trip, we dreamed up a new program we called Common Threads. I said, we ought to be able to mingle Anabaptist hymns and stories with spirituals and African American stories. And so we did. It was very much of a postmodern idea, which Tony loved. Not everybody got that connection, but we did, and he did, and we loved doing it. Tony could meet anybody, as you all know. Once upon a time, we were traveling in Pennsylvania, and I took Tony to my home community of the Big Valley, Belleville, Pennsylvania. And he wanted to meet one of my Amish aunts. So we went to visit Aunt Lizzie. And after a while, Tony said, "Could I sing for you?" Well, yeah. So he sang a solo for her. And then I said, "I think she could play a musical instrument for you." So she played her harmonica. And those two made music together. Delightful time. Well, then I took him up to Joe Peachy's wood carving shop, who does world-known sculptures and furniture. And after we visited there a while, we went down the lane, and at the end of the lane, at the mailbox, one of his sons, who helps work in the shop, was standing waiting for his ride home. So I stopped, rolled down the window, had a conversation, and then Tony leans over the seat, and he says, could you and I be cousins? Tony loved that kind of stuff. Well, he didn't know what to say, and finally he pulled himself out by saying, well, yeah, through Adam and Eve. We went on to the livestock auction. Walking across the parking lot, an Amishman that I'd worked with earlier came up and started talking, and Tony was right here, and I knew he had a question. So after a while, I look at Tony. He said, do you think I could be Amish? Well, he did not want to be rude. But he finally came up with his answer. I think you'd be better off staying right where you are. Tony forever, the one who broke boundaries and crossed cultures to engage.
To finish, I'd like to tell a story about how he made the connection to Uganda. Dallas and I and Tony were in Wichita on the tarmac, loading the plane, about to go to somewhere in Ohio, probably flying to Cleveland, doing some programs out there. And Tony's phone rings. I said, Tony, you got to turn your phone off. But he answers it, and it's someone from Uganda. Never knew who that was, never heard of him, a man by the name of Ricky Richard. Dallas mentioned him already. And he said, can you call me back in 2 hours? So, okay, the phone call ended. Tony turned off his phone, and I said, is it a Nigerian prince who wants you to give your bank number and everything over to him or something like, do you always answer these calls? He said, no, but it seemed genuine. So, and 2 hours later, the man called back. And he, over the process and of kind of vetting things, learned that he was indeed a former child soldier who was working for peace, who had created something called Friends of Orphans, which worked with formerly abducted children who now needed to be rehabilitated and integrated back into the community. And that turned into a great friendship, and eventually Tony and I went there. And we never knew, how did he find out about Tony? One clue was that wherever we went, he was always introduced as Anthony Brown Baritone. This is Anthony Brown Baritone. This is Mr. Baritone. Tony's website was anthonybaritone.com or net, something like that. I think it just happened to be that this man was searching for peacemaking, and Tony's website came up. And so it was always assumed that his name was Anthony Brown Baritone. And that's why the school in Pade, Uganda, northern Uganda, which works at providing skills training for formerly abducted child soldiers, is named the Anthony Brown Baritone Comprehensive School. And on the way up to the school, up to northern Uganda, we had several hours in the car. Occasionally Tony would say, Anthony Brown Baritone, what do you think of that name, Ken? And I'd say, I think it sounds very nice. So, no. But Anthony Brown Baritone, what do you think of? I said, well, it's who you are. Little did we know that the name had already been put on the name of the school already without Tony knowing it, or I didn't know that either. The music that you will hear tonight reflects the breadth and depth of Tony's lived experience and the music he loved to sing and the music that he performed. Almost all of this is music that he would have performed himself. And so as you listen to it, it's a wide variety of music. I think it's something that you will enjoy. enjoy this evening. Be inspired. Be inspired to be connected to your fellow people around you, your fellow human beings, and be connected to the work of peacemaking. We need that in this world more than ever. Thank you very much, and we'll take about a 10-minute break. We'll have the slides going again of photos of Tony, and so we'll be back at 7:30.
I have a small hand which to hold, but if I stand by your side and you put your hand in mine, together we can be so strong and bold. I am a small part of the world. I have a small dream in my eyes. But if I tell you my dreams and you add your dreams to mine, together we can reach up to the skies.
Good evening again, and welcome to this Masterworks choral concert in memory of Tony Brown, his work, his life, his music. As you know, he's an Hesston College alum. For 15 years, he was professor of sociology and artist in residence. He was a counselor, tireless worker for peace, beloved friend to many, many around the world. I'd like to introduce some special guests this evening. Dr. Laverne Diggs, Tony's sister from McDonald, Pennsylvania. Nice to have you back. Bodaway and Joy Cotter, longtime friends of Tony, and Bodaway was Tony's roommate at Goshen College. Somewhere? Arlen and Lola Hirschberger, Denver. Arlen directed the Spiritual Projects Choir in Denver, and Tony recorded a CD with them. Are you here? Jake and Nancy Rittenhouse. I saw you back there. Jake was the choral director here at Hesston College when Tony lived here, worked here, taught here. One other note, the advertising, the promotion has included the names of Keith Harris and Holly Swartzendruber. Health issues have kept them from appearing here tonight, and so we're happy to have Evan Nelson and Matt Schloniger filling in.
campground. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Oh, don't you want to go to that gospel field, that promised land, where all is peace? Oh, deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Black, black, black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are something rosy fair. The prettiest face and the daintiest hands. I love the grass whereon she stands. I love my love, and well she knows. I love the grass whereon she grows. If she on earth no more I see, my life will quickly leave me. I go to troublesome, to mourn, to weep, but satisfied I ne'er can sleep. I'll write her a note in a few little lines. I'll suffer death 10,000 times. Black, black, black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are something rosy fair. The prettiest face and the daintiest hands. I love the grass whereon she stands. house was paradise. This nearly was mine. Close to my heart she came, only to fly away, only to fly as day flies from moonlight. Now I'm alone, still dreaming of paradise, still saying that paradise once nearly was mine.
The pure, the bright, the beautiful, that stirred our hearts anew. The impulses to wordless prayer.
The streams of love and truth, the longing after something lost. The Spirit's yearning cry, the striving after better laws.
These things can never, these things can never
The timid and stretched forth to His feet. A kindly word increased our help and proves a friend indeed.
The plea for mercy softly breathe when justice threatens harm.
The sorrow of a contrite heart.
These things shall never die, shall never die. Let nothing pass, for every hand must find some work to do. Lose not the chance to wake in love. Be firm and just and true, so shall the light that cannot fade be from on high, and angel voices say to thee. These things can never, these things can never
Tony was always looking for new repertoire. Songs like I'm a Small Part of the World and Things That Never Die were not originally solos, they're choral works, but Tony turned them into solos. I first heard I'm a Small Part of a World at a children's choir concert, and I heard it, and I knew Tony had to sing it, and it became one of his signature songs. And I always had to laugh a little bit when it says, "I have a small voice," because even though he may not have been the biggest man in the room, he had a large voice that you knew that Tony Brown was in the building. The other thing that he loved, particularly when he was a student at Hesston College, he often would talk about the major works, the master works that he got to sing, Handel's Messiah, Brahms' Requiem, and Mendelssohn's Elijah. And he would go on over many decades to sing the role of Elijah at many places throughout the country, and it was one of his favorites. So we will hear now selections from Mendelssohn's Elijah.
rend your hearts and not your garments. For your transgressions, even as Elijah hath sealed the heavens, through the word of God, I therefore say to thee, forsake your idols, return to God, for he is slow to anger and merciful and kind and gracious, and repenteth him of the evil. If with all your hearts ye truly seek me, ye shall ever surely find me. Thus saith our God. If with all your hearts ye truly seek me, ye shall ever surely find me. Thus saith our God. Thus saith our God. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might even come before his presence. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might even come before his presence. Come before his presence. Oh, that I knew where I might find him. If with all your hearts ye truly seek me, ye shall ever surely find me. Thus saith our God, ye shall ever surely find me. Thus saith our God. Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, this day let it be known that thou art God, and I am thy servant. Lord God of Abraham, oh, show to all his people that I have done these things according to thy word. Oh, hear me, Lord, and answer me. Oh, hear me, Lord, and
Welcome back to the second half. One of the things that Tony was really good at was telling stories. And I hope for those of you who know Tony, you're telling stories now as well. But he was an excellent storyteller, and that's one of the things he loved about the old American songs. There are two sets of CDs that were recorded while he was still in Seattle, Old American Songs and a spiritual CD. And that was with pianist Lisa Bergman. And Lisa, when she found out about this concert, called us up and said, I've got boxes of CDs still that if I can get them to you, you may have. And so Rachel Swartzendruber Miller will talk a little bit more about that. But there are only, of the spirituals, there are only about 20 left. And there are lots of American songs. So if you make a donation, you may take an American songs. We're going to put a little higher price on the spirituals one because you need to pay for that because there are very many. And I think everyone will want that one. So don't leave the concert early. But one of the wonderful things about the old American songs is the song, I Bought Me a Cat. Which Russell described as the 12 days of Christmas meets Old MacDonald Had a Farm. And the wonderful thing about this are all the different animal sounds. And when Tony was in a country where English was not their first language, whether it was in Uganda or Indonesia, but particularly in China, they loved this song when he would sing, I Bought Me a Cat. They just ate it up. And I think you'll see we're having a lot of fun with it as well. I want to say just a little bit about the song Each Other's Light, which Matt will be doing in his set. Tony came up with this idea, this little phrase that he put at the end of his email. If we can see each other's light, we can be each other's light. And Baroe Cutter, his college roommate from Goshen College, his daughter is a professional musician and violinist. And Tony one day just received this song that she had written with that idea. If we can see each other's light, we can be each other's light. And it's a song that became Tony's special song and sang it many times in many different places. We wish you all the best in enjoying the rest of this program.
The boatmen sing, the boatmen up to everything. And when the boatman gets on shore, he spends his cash and works some more. Dance, boatman, dance, 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 boatman, dance, dance, oh dance, all night till broad daylight, and go home with the cows in the morning. High row the boatmen row,
I went on board the other day to see what the boatmen had to say. There I let my passion loose. They crammed me in the calaboose.
Dance the boatman dance, dance the boatman dance, dance, oh dance all night till broad daylight. We go home with the gals in the morning.
I row the boatman row, floating down the river, the Ohio.
A boatman is a thrifty man, his son can do as a boatman can. I never see a pretty girl in my life, that she was a boatman's wife. Oh, dance, dance, oh, dance, dance, oh, dance all night till broad daylight. We go home with the gals in the morning.
I row the boatman row, floating down the river, the Ohio. Yes, the candidate's a Dodger, yes, a well-known Dodger, yes, the candidate's a Dodger, and I'm a Dodger too. He'll meet you and treat you and ask you for your vote, but look out, boys, he's a dodging for a note. Yes, we're all dodging, 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 dodging. Yes, we're all dodging our way through the world. Yes, the preacher, he's a Dodger, yes, a well-known Dodger, yes, the preacher, he's a Dodger, yes, and I'm a Dodger too. He'll preach you a gospel and tell you of your crimes, but look out, boys, he's a dodging for your dimes. Yes, we're all dodging, 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 dodging. Yes, we're all dodging our way through the
Yes,
I bought me a duck, my duck pleased me. I fed my duck under yonder tree. My duck said quack, quack.
My cat says fiddle I feed.
I bought me a goose, my goose pleased me. I fed my goose under yonder tree. My goose says quack, quack.
My duck said quack, quack.
My cat says fiddle I feed. I bought me a hen, my hen says me. I fed my hen under yonder tree. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack.
My goose says quack, quack.
My duck says quack, quack.
My cat says fiddle I feed. I bought me a pig, my pig pleased me. I fed my pig under yonder tree. My pig says grindy, grindy. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack.
My goose says quack, quack.
My duck says quack, quack.
My cat says fiddle I feed.
I bought me a cow, my cow pleased me. I fed my cow under yonder tree. My cow says wah, wah.
My pig says grindy, grindy. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack.
My goose says quack, quack.
My duck says quack, quack.
My cat says fiddle I feed.
I bought me a horse, my horse pleased me. I fed my horse under yonder tree. My horse says
Nay, nay. My cow says wah, wah.
My pig says grindy, grindy. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack.
My goose says quack, quack.
My duck says quack, quack.
My cat says fiddle I feed. I got me a wife, my wife loves me. I fed my wife from a yonder tree. My wife says honey, honey.
My horse says
Nay, nay. My cow says wah, wah.
My pig says grindy, grindy. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack.
My goose says quack, quack.
My duck says quack, quack. My cat says fiddle I feed.
Brothers, gather round, listen to this story about the promised land and the promised glory.
You don't need to fear if you have some money. You don't need none there to buy you milk and honey.
There you'll ride inside, coach with 4 white horses. There the evening meal has 1, 2, 3, 4 courses.
Nights we all will dance to the harp and fiddle, waltz and jig and prance, pass up down the middle.
When the morning comes, all the bandits stand out in the sun and hear the rolling thunder. Brothers, hear me now, the promised lands are coming. Dance and sing and shout, I hear them hearts are strong.
Those of you who participated with Tony in many of his concerts, and I know many of you did, remember that Tony loved to have the audience join in. We know that many spirituals were originally call and response. And so I'd like you to join with me now in a spiritual that Tony often did. And so this is your part. Let's practice it together. It goes like this. I know the Lord's laid his hands on me. Can you all sing that? I know the Lord's laid his hands on me. So I'll do the chorus and you come in at the end of every chorus after I sing this. So I sing, oh, I know the Lord, I know the Lord, I know the Lord's laid his hands on me. Got it? So sing that every time and I'll meet you at the end. Oh, I know the Lord, I know the Lord, I know the Lord's laid his hands on me. Oh, I know the Lord, I know the Lord, I know the Lord laid his hands on me. Did ever you see the like before? I know the Lord laid his hands on me. King Jesus preaching to the poor. I know the Lord laid his hands on me. Oh, I know the Lord. I know the Lord. I know the Lord laid his hands on me. Oh, I know the Lord. I know the Lord. I know the Lord laid his hands on me. Oh, wasn't that a happy day? I know the Lord laid his hands on me. When Jesus washed my sins away, I know the Lord laid his hands on me. Oh, I know the Lord, I know the Lord, I know the Lord laid his hands on me. Oh, I know the Lord, I know the Lord, I know the Lord laid his hands on me. Bravo, great, great, great. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow. are dying, and I am dead, as dead I well may be. He'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me, and I will hear, though soft you tread above me, and all my grave will warmer, sweeter be. For you will beg and tell me that you love me, and I will sleep in peace until you come to me. Look at the world with me. Is this how it should be? People dying, crying out for peace. Nations prolong history's bitter song. To all our hope and innocence are gone. How in all the death and pain can freedom flow like flowing rain? For love to live tomorrow, we must melt away this sorrow. If we can see each other's light, then we can be each other's light, and all the war and hate will disappear. If we can both see eye to eye, raise our hearts and voices to the sky, then we'll find beauty so clear, love without fear, if we see each other's light. This world could be if our love was without walls and boundaries. Then we will know no enemy or foe, and the seeds of peace could start and root to grow. If we could as one decide to lay down our arms and pride, and then our children would not sorrow, there'd be joy for their tomorrow. If we can see each other's light, then we can be each other's light, and all the war and hate will disappear. If we can see both eye to eye, Raise our hearts and voices to the sky. Then we'll find beauty so clear and love without fear. If we can see each other's light, we fight to protect our land, but we don't understand that we must walk hand in hand. In unity we can plant a garden of peace, a garden of hope, a garden that everyone will know, that there is light in every living thing. So let us be each other's light, and we can be each other's light. And all the war and hate will disappear if we can both see eye to eye, raise our hearts and voices to the sky. We'll find beauty so clear, love without fear. We'll find beauty so clear, and love without fear. If we can see each other's light.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. I believe I've cried 3 times, so that might be a record for concerts that I've attended. This has been amazing. Thank you all very much. And thank you all for joining us this evening. My name is Rachel Swartzendruber Miller, and I'm the Vice President of Advancement here at Hesston College. And my dear friend and mentor and Hesston College colleague, Tony Brown, founded the Piecing It Together Foundation several years ago, which served the global community as a resource for peace and social justice using music and the spoken word to bring people together across the divides of race, culture, and religion. Tony believed that music was the great uniter. He once quoted Sarah Dessen and said that music is an incredible force, something that people who differ on everything and anything can have in common. In more than 20 years of travels, Tony saw music, many times his own music, transform, heal, and unite communities all over the world. In 2019, Tony embarked on a venture with Hesston College to integrate his Piecing It Together Foundation's work with the Hesston student experience. His aim was to continue to promote peace through storytelling and music, and have the voices of Hesston College students, faculty, and staff members join in this effort with him. When asked about the merger in 2019, Tony said, "With a long history of being a welcoming place for international students and other diverse groups, Hesston College students naturally bring stories and songs that span divides and help us recognize our common humanity. With Piecing It Together being part of Hesston College, the institution can extend its unique community and approach to others who also desire a world with more understanding and compassion for all. It's thrilling to me," he said. Tony loved Hesston College, and the college community is honored to continue to work at living out Tony's goals for the Piecing It Together Foundation. With that in mind, after covering the cost of tonight's program, proceeds of tonight's offering will go toward the establishment of the Piecing It Together Endowment Fund here at Hesston College, which will allow Hesston students, faculty, and staff to bring programming to this community and other communities in an effort to bridge divides and unite. As I looked at Tony's Piecing It Together Foundation Facebook page in preparation for tonight's service, this quote that he had posted from Albert Schweitzer stuck out to me. "At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to thank with deep gratitude those who have lightened the flame within us." He also posted this anonymous quote, "It's not happiness that brings us gratitude. It's gratitude that brings us happiness." Tony, for many of us, was that person who rekindled the spark within us when things looked dim. He also was the one among us who exuded happiness because he lived from a place of gratitude. I so thank Tony for challenging me and many of us to live from a place of gratitude so we too could exude happiness and help others rekindle that spark within them during the dim times, and also to see each other's light and be each other's light. Tony was a gift to us, a rare and special gift. And I encourage you now to give a gift in honor of him and his work so his legacy can live on for years to come. Thank you.
It's such an honor to have put this program together. I actually met Tony for the first time when I was 24 years old, just a few years older than some of our seniors here. And I was a brand new teacher at Western Mennonite School. And actually, Ben, you were one of my students. And I went with other teachers from my school to the Mennonite Education Association Teachers Conference that was in Baltimore. And who was leading music but Tony Brown and Ken Rodgers? And if I could have told my young self back then that I would have the chance to work with Ken Rodgers down the road, that would have been quite the thing to know that's going to happen. When I was at Bethel College, music found me. I was a math major until I was a senior in college. And I took a conducting class as an elective just for fun. And I knew that I wanted to do music in the church, and so I'd studied music on the side, but I was going to be an engineer. And then the opportunity for me to teach at Western Mennonite School, or Iowa Mennonite School, came along. And I chose Western for the adventure. And it was a good choice because I also met my wife, Camille, there. And that was just kind of part of that journey. And the reason why I think I fell in love with Mennonite education is because of people like Tony and people like Karen Schleybaugh, people like Bill Aish, and we were in the back, and Matt said, Doyle actually signed that Elijah aria to me. I'm not sure if he remembers that. These are people that made impacts on our lives. And when I was at Western, I think I fell in love with Mennonite education, because not so much because of the faith thing, but just because it made sense for me. It made a passion for me. And I think when Tony came here and was able to do his sharing and his world travels, it made sense to him because he was an extension of Hesston College. And when I went off into grad school, it was with basically one mission, and that was to end up at a Mennonite college. And lo and behold, I ran into Ken again. And right at the end of my year of graduating, this job opened up. And this has been basically a destination for me to feel like I'm in a place that is my home. Not because I could make music other places, but it's the purpose and the passion of making music here, because it's the intersection of faith and music making, and that I think is what Tony experienced. And to be a faculty member here with people who have spent their entire career here is incredible. I remember being a first-year faculty member here with Jim Yoder in faculty meetings. And another person, this servant leadership that I experienced from faculty here made me want to become a better person, and makes me strive to become a better person. And to see people like Karen, who has spent 42 years of her career here, and Ken and Rachel Jancy, my colleague, and Holly Swartzendruber, and Slane Warden, who we've had some difficult times in the last few years, but that becomes our family. And just like John, when you're colleagues with someone in your building, that becomes your family. And so it's been just an honor to be a part of the faculty here. And the experience that we have tonight, I think, is that intersection that we're experiencing. One of the things I do before programs is I type up all the text of the music and I send it off into Marcom. And for me, that is always kind of an aha moment, because I read the text again that we're singing. And music is a weird thing because it transforms the text into another world. And in the first song, like you said, I have a small part of the world, I have a small voice. I feel like when I was faculty chair 4 or 5 years ago, that small voice started within me to say that things aren't quite settled here. And that voice has grown and grown and grown. And we have We have struggled as a campus for the last several years, and we are scared to let the public know that. We are a community together, and we need each other more than anything right now, because the arts is what holds us together. It's our heartbeat. The truth is that we have not always done everything perfect as a college, and we have moved forward with not always the best plan. However, on Tuesday, I learned that many of my colleagues were not going to longer be lifelong employees here. And that hurts my soul. And for me to have my career be changed to say that I will now be a coach making music here instead of a faculty member hurts my soul. Because I want someday for this to happen for me. Not in a weird way, but just those people like Tony, they touch their lives. And I think about the lives that I've touched and that I want to touch. I think about the 1,000 students that Ken has taken on European Choir Tour. That's incredible. And so we haven't quite had a clear plan about what's moving ahead in the arts, but we have lost 2 full-time faculty members, and we have lost our major. And that's difficult. And moving ahead, I want to say to our VPs that we want to be at the table for these conversations so that our voice is also heard. Because I think that without the humanities, that would have not happened to me at Bethel College. Had I been going after being an engineer, I would have not found the arts, and that would have not changed my life in this way. And I don't think that Tony would have changed people's lives just by speaking to them. It was through the arts that they were moved. So I've appreciated all those that you have shared messages on Facebook and said things about our college. It's very difficult to look in from the outside and really know what's happening. I hope that you really care about our institution, and those thoughts go longer than just a week of talking on Facebook. And I hope that you also value so much the experience that I've had here. And there is this saying of what the Hesston experience is, and it's alive in Keim Center. It's so alive. To close this concert, we would like you to join us in singing He's Got the Whole World, in the same way that those children joined Tony. So we'll start, and when it's your turn to sing In His Hands, I invite you to join in with us and sing.
He's got the woods and the waters